What really distinguishes working in post-production in animation is that it's an additive process rather than subtractive. We take the visual portion that's been created and basically add the other 50%, which is audio.
In animation, there's no production audio. We start with nothing but dialogue, and we basically get to create a whole world of sound.
When I have conversations with comp artists or animators, we always talk about how it doesn't fully feel like it's complete until sound has gone in. This has probably been one of the best sounding seasons so far, and our Foley has never sounded this good.
Foley is really us performing in the background, all of the little sounds that you hear. We're the ones that are actually performing that action with objects that we have in the studio. It just helps sell the world and sell the environment. Fights are interesting just because of how much work has to go into help stylizing the sound. Doing a normal punch on something is just going to give you a weak sound. But if you really want to convey like hard punch, a bone-cracking punch, you'll add maybe some celery crunching. Some of the Foley that I do for fights is things with cloth. Whenever somebody throws a punch, it's not just a, it's also the cloth helps give that whoosh a little bit of texture. After I record them all, I'll send it off to mix.
We finally get to take the sound effects and the dialogue and the music and work them together into that whole immersive soundscape.
His grasp and understanding of melee and combat and mix, it just ties a beautiful bow on top of it.
And one of the ways that I will approach fights is I will very carefully kind of frame through everything, action by action, and drop a lot of markers. Things I think about is what can I do to increase the readability of this fight? What sounds are important to help the audience understand what's going on? So if a character whiffs, that's almost as important as whenever they connect, even though there's no impact.
The number one thing when it comes to mixing fights is looking at how dynamic you can make it feel.
When I see something like this section of 6 hits, I try to think of that like if I had congas in front of me, or like if I was in a drum line, what pitches would I select to play those notes on? Together, I think it just gives it sort of a flow, kind of like the choreography has a flow. And sometimes the animators will give you something that isn't like really physically possible to make with the sound, like this machine gun punch here with Yang. There's no way I could one-to-one sync that. So inside of this, I've got like a silenced machine gun, I've got bullet ricochets against metal, I've got a jackhammer, and then I've gone ahead and synced punches to the jackhammer, and then I've gone through and I've highlighted specific frequencies to make them sound like punches instead of jackhammers. That all together. Whenever they give you something fun, the only thing you can respond with is something equally fun, I think, to work with. You get to do all this immersive stuff, but your main job is to almost be invisible as you're doing it.
What I hope our community experiences when they see our show and they listen to our sounds is that they're there. They're there with the characters. And I do think that that's a byproduct of having all of these people on this team who really just love and enjoy what they do.
And we're really looking forward to just seeing how far we can take the show and these characters to continue telling their story.